Hi there. I have a few projects to share with you today. I already have the instruction sheet already typed up. I posted it here at the top so you can grab it and print it out. We're going to be doing 3 projects today using 2 different bundles. We're using the Tasteful Touches bundle and Mini Mates. And I think, yeah, I knew I did it wrong. I kept wanting to call it Mini Mates and I put it Mini Mates, but it's Mini Mates. I'll have to go in and change it. But the instruction sheet is already all typed up on my blog with all of the dimensions and everything you need. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to start with this project first, which is the gift card holder. Sorry, I'm setting up my iPad to make sure that I can see and if anybody has comments or whatever. So we're going to make a gift card holder, and this is what it looks like. It's actually super easy once I show you what we're using to make it. So we'll set that aside, and this is everything we need. So we are using the note card, one of the note cards. I don't know if you've seen that Stampin' Up! Has in the catalog. Over on page 153. Make sure I have this in here. We actually sell note cards and envelopes. You get 20 cards and 20 envelopes for $7. They're a little bit smaller than a regular card, but that's what we're using today. And I'm going to show you how to make it into a gift card holder because you have the whole envelope that matches and everything. Okay, so all we're going to do is fold on the score line that's already given to you. Fold on the score line here, and then we are going to cut it in half. Let me get my paper cutter. And all I really did was eyeball it, but you can also kind of fold this back to get it, to crease it at the halfway mark. I'm not a big measurer, those who know me. So I made a little crease mark there, and we're going to cut it off, and we'll use that Whisper White sheet later for something else. Okay, so now that we cut the half off, now you have this little piece here. We're going to grab our detailed trio punch. This punch does 3 different things. We're going to use the corner rounder, and we are going to round all of our corners. So we'll start with the card up here. You want to just make sure you get your paper bumped up on these little notches. So let me round all the corners. See how that just kind of finishes off? And then we are going to take our DSP and do the same. So now there's 3 pieces of DSP that I cut for this. 2 pieces we're going to use for the gift card holder, and the other piece we're going to use for this, which I believe is this longer piece right here. Yes. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. So the 2 pieces of DSP, which is the In Good Taste Designer Series paper, one is cut at 4 7/8 by 2.5, and one is cut at 4 7/8 by 1 5/8. Okay, so one is going to be for the inside of the gift card holder, and the other one's going to be for the outside. So remember, you can do this. I had a lot of this paper and I wanted to use this, but you could use it, make a gift card holder out of any print paper you have for a holiday, for a birthday. So the same thing, I am going to round. Oops, I used the wrong end. Okay, not paying attention. I'm going to round the corners we'll tuck that side in and no one will ever even know. Round those corners. But you can see the other, isn't that cute? The other design that I accidentally punched. So let's round that and that. Okay. So now we have all of our corners rounded. And I glued it to just, let me see if you can see this, just a hair or two down from the white edge. And I did it for both pieces. So what I'm going to use, actually no, I am going to go ahead and use my Stamp and Seal. Have you had a chance to use the Stamp and Seal yet? This is just the regular seal, and it is pretty sticky. You have to kind of hold it at a little bit of a different angle. You have to kind of hold it upwards. You know, instead of going down like this, you have to kind of be up, if that makes sense. At least that's what I found to be successful for me. Probably everyone's is different. And okay, so there we go. We have the beginning of our gift card holder. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I like to use the liquid glue, and I am going to use just a little bit of it on the edges right here to close up the note card to create the fold for the gift card. And then if you hold that there for like 3 to 5 seconds, then it kind of becomes permanent. Well, it does become permanent and it's stronger. Hi, Grace. So we're going to set that aside for just a second, and then we're going to cut out our other pieces. So I'm using crumb cake, and this is just a scrap piece of crumb cake, a scrap piece of Blushing Bride cardstock, and a scrap piece of Whisper White, because we are going to use the die cut machine to cut out all of these pieces right here, except for the pink. That's actually just with our scissors. Okay, so let me set all of this aside. And bring over the die cut machine. And we're going to use the Tasteful Labels dies. And we're going to use, there we go. So the Tasteful Labels dies, you get all of these, this selection of dies, but we are going to use one round one, which is the largest round one for the white. And then we're going to use this one here for the crumb cake. And we can actually cut them out at the same time. This new die cut machine is available on September 1st. So what is that, next week already? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think that is everything we need for this project. Set the die cut machine aside. And then let me put my dies away because I don't want to lose them. Okay, so now we have our die cut pieces and our note card that we turned into the little envelope for our gift card. So the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna use Early Espresso ink, and we're gonna use, let's see, bring this over here so you can see. I did Celebrate and Today is All About You. So that's using the Many Mates set. We have Celebrate, and it has all of these other fun sayings. This calls for a huge celebration on your retirement because you make me smile. Life is better with you. Lots of really good sayings. I love this set, but we're gonna just use the Celebrate and Today is All About You. I think that's pretty generic, right? You can use those for kind of any celebration. Okay. Celebrate. It looks like I stamped it. I stamped it in the center, but kind of up just slightly. Perfect. And then we're going to stamp the Today is All About You in this little scrap Blushing Bride piece. And then we're actually not going to die cut that, but if I stamp it close to an edge like this, it's much easier to cut out. Okay, so now we're just gonna put everything together. And I used dimensionals. Let me get my bag of stickies out here. Okay, so just gonna cut this up just like this. Don't really need any special tools for that. Unless you don't cut straight, sorry. Which I don't even know if I cut this straight.
Is there something else I can't help with?
Ooh, my watch is talking to me. Okay. All right, and then we're going to use the dimensionals. I think I used 2 on this little circle. And peel that off. We'll center it on our crumb cake label. And then I just used a little piece. Oops, I lost my Today is All About You tag. Hold on. A tiny bit of the tape. Stamp and Seal tape. Put that right on there. I forgot one more little element. We use this twine. And again, I didn't measure this either, but if you just pull out a tiny bit and make your little bow. And then you can use a glue dot. Or if you have liquid glue, whatever works. I'm going to use my little tool. And I think I'll put that right there. I have all these little dots left over from my Paper Pumpkin kit. So if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, which is the crafting kit that comes out every month that Stampin' Up! Puts out, it's $22 a month. They send you the adhesive, tons of adhesive actually, that you need for your project, and you always have a lot left over, or I always have a lot left over. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I need to center. I think I'm just gonna eyeball it right there. I don't want to put adhesive on this label and then glue it to the back part right there, so then you can't slide your gift card in. There we go. that's how you make a little gift card holder out of a note card. And so I just have this Starbucks gift card. You can slide right in. You can't even see it if you wanted to put a little note behind it, or you can stick it out. So there is that. And then let's finish making the envelope. So the envelope is plain white. I like to just put a little bit of fun on the outside of the envelope. And then I'm gonna use my Stampin' Seal again. On the outside, you could use whatever glue works better for you. Sometimes the liquid glue does work good, but it's not so humid here today, so I'm going to risk it and use the tape glue. Okay, so all I did was tape that onto the back, and then I'm just going to cut around. There they go. And now we have our envelope that matches our cute little gift card holder that we made out of a note card. Right? So when you have a stack of note cards with the envelopes, you don't have to use them as note cards if you don't want to. Super easy. Okay, so that is project number 1. Using the Tasteful Touches bundle and the Mini Mates bundle. Okay, the next project I'm going to show you is this card. I love this set. I love the background, the ornate die. So what we're using, okay, so I have the card base, and I have this cut at 4 1/4 by 11, but I forgot to score it down the middle. This is a scoreboard if you've never seen one, and this is how I score all my paper, make little boxes, treat holders, all that good stuff. And it gives you a nice clean fold. Okay, so there is that. Now, to get this background, we used, let me set all of this other stuff aside so that I don't lose anything. We used the Mini Medallions dies. Look at how gorgeous that is. So it's one big huge piece, and then you get these other like edge dies that go with it, that you can do a lot of other fun things with as well. But we are going to use it just like this on our crumb cake, except for I don't want to put glue all over the back of those tiny pieces. So what I am going to do is use these adhesive sheets. Now, these are the ones that are made by Sizzix that Stampin' Up! Used to carry. I'm just cutting it the size of my cardstock. Stampin' Up! No longer has a partnership with Sizzix, but they do carry their own brand of adhesive sheets that work exactly the same. So all you do is peel off that part, and then you put your cardstock down. Oops, I'm a little bit crooked. That's okay. And I'll show you what it does when I cut out this very detailed background. So anytime you have a die, a small metal die that has a lot of little pieces, it's very intricate, use those adhesive sheets. They're the best. Okay, so put that down. We're gonna put the die face down on the cardstock, except I'm gonna flip it up this way because I think it cuts better on some detailed dies. when it's facing upwards like that, if that makes sense. Okay, you can see it coming apart already. Look at how pretty this is. Let me set this aside. Okay, so see how that cut out everything, and all the white on the back of the on the back is a sticker, and it's going to peel right off. But let me get the little pieces out. I got to get my dye brush. This is a dye brush that gets all the little pieces out, because I could sit here for 2 hours and poke them out with the end of my pointy tool, but I don't really want to do that. Okay, let me get, there's only a few little pieces left that I didn't get out. So Stampin' Up! Doesn't have the big brush anymore. They have an attachment that goes onto the Take Your Pick tool that's a brush, and it comes with 2 of these foam sheets. Not quite sure why 2, because I've had one lasts forever. I've had this one for a super long time. Okay. So not all the pieces came out with that dye brush. That's okay. They're just being a little bit stubborn. But a lot of it's going to be covered on our card, as you can see, like this. So let me show you how this comes up. So then you just peel off the adhesive, and now the whole thing is like one big sticker. Isn't that great? See? It's just a big sticker. Okay, so then we're going to take, I'm already creating a mess over here. Here is our card front. Then we're just going to adhere that right on the front. Isn't that great? Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Okay, let me clean up my mess here because I don't want to lose anything. Put the embossing and cut machine away for a second. We'll get that back out. Oh, actually, we do need it right. Let me take it back out. Okay, so we have the card front done. And the other 2 things we need to cut out is the Blushing Bride label and the white one that says "You Are So Special." So we're going to take out our Tasteful Labels dies again, and we are going to use this piece here and this label here. And I didn't measure. All I did was kind of held the cardstock up. I didn't measure the scrap pieces. Okay, so we'll take we need this in pink, or Blushing Bride, and then we need this label in the white. Get this to fit on my thing here, and run this through. Okay, so now we have our labels. This is our finished card, so that's what we're trying to make. Or that's what we're going to make. And we need a couple of stamps. And so the set that I used was Tasteful Touches. We use Tasteful Touches, and we're going to use the feather, and we're going to use You Are So Special. Okay. Oops. And we're going to use the Early Espresso ink one more time. I'm going to put my stamps on my blocks here. I am using block C and block H. I have more of Whisper White, and we're going to stamp. We need 2 feathers in the Early Espresso. And then 1 in Crumb Cake. So we'll stamp that in just a second. We need You Are So Special on this label. And on this card, I stamped it in the middle, but I'm going to do it off to the right. Okay, we're done with the Early Espresso. And then let me just clean off my feather. I don't want to get dark ink inside of my lighter ink. Okay, so now we're going to look at the detail on this stamp, you guys. It's so amazing to me, even though I've been crafting for years and years. How they get such realistic detail in a rubber stamp. Isn't that amazing? I love it. The things that make me happy. Okay, so we have all of our pieces. We have our feathers cut out for this card, but I don't have dies for the feathers. You have to fussy cut them. So I've already cut out 2, so I just need to cut out 1 right now. So you don't have to sit there and watch me hand cut out feathers. I wish I had a story to tell you guys, but I don't. Other than I'm ready for the heat to go away. I'm ready for my kids to go back to school. Love them, but it's time. You know what I mean? Anybody with me? Oh, goodness. I mean, it's great that Orange County has opened up, but the only schools that I hear that are going back is K through 6 anytime soon. If we don't go crazy over Labor Day weekend, right? Because we all know what happened over the 4th of July. People went nuts, and we had to get shut down again. All right, anyways, crafting is my escape of real life, so I'm going to shut up about COVID right now. So anywho, let's get back to the fun stuff. I am going to now use my Stampin' Seal. See what I mean? Sometimes it's temperamental with me. I don't know if it's just me or what's happening. But now we're going to adhere this, and I'm going to center the white label. Then I'm going to use dimensionals for the Blushing Bride. And we'll put this kind of like an inch up from the bottom and flush over to the right side of the card. Then again, using using this Stamp and Seal, we'll put one feather there, and then we're just gonna put adhesive on the bottom part. See, good grief. I don't know if this Stamp and Seal if it's me or what the deal is, but let's go to the trusty old liquid glue. I think it likes me better. And we'll put one feather here and layer that one right on top. Plus, I think I like the liquid glue better anyways. It gives me a few seconds to move it around. Okay, now we're gonna take our gold linen thread, if I can make a bow. Our gold linen thread. There we go. And we're going to put it right on top of our bunch of feathers over here. So again, using my leftover glue dots from my paper pumpkin, we'll put that right on there. There we go. Project number 2 is done. That's a card. So we've made a gift card holder. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I stamped the envelope. So you can see here, you just grab the feather stamp, and I can do that real quick. Really quick, so I can say that the project is done, right? Let me grab a piece of scratch paper because I don't want to scratch on my, stamp on my surface here, even though it'll come off. I'm just weird about stuff like that. Okay, that's the crumb cake. And these are actually crumb cake envelopes. Stampin' Up! Does not sell crumb cake envelopes anymore. They have the white and they have very vanilla, but I have a huge supply of these crumb cakes still. It's still the same style and size envelope that they have in the catalog. So still orderable, just in different colors. And then what did I do on the front? Then we can put a, I want to tilt it a little bit, I guess. Beautiful. Oh, I think that's kind of dark, huh? I probably stamped off. Okay, anyways, project number 2 is done. We have a gift card holder completed. We have 2 cards. And the last project I'm going to show you is a super simple little treat holder. I mean, literally you can make 100 of these if you need to. And I think I have before for my kids' elementary school days. Just cleaning out my stuff real quick. Bear with me. Okay. So this is the next project we're going to make. It is a simple little treat holder. So the first thing we need is this long strip. Let me flip my paper over so I have my dimensions. Again, if you want the instruction sheet for all of these projects I made today, I typed it all up, plus all the supplies that I used. So you can print it out. It's over on my blog, which is linked right above this video in the description. Okay, so what did I use? I used this Blushing Bride piece of cardstock. It's cut at 2 inches by 11 inches. Now we're gonna get the scoring tool back out. And we're going to score this. Okay, we're gonna score this on the long side. So So this is the long side, the 11-inch side. We're gonna score this at 5 inches. Yeah, 5 inches and 6 inches, okay? Put the scoring tool away. We don't need that anymore. And then we're gonna fold up those score lines. We're gonna use the scallop tag topper. And the width of this punch is exactly 2 inches, so it'll fit perfectly. Put that all the way up, and it punches your tag for you perfectly. It gives you the little notch to put your ribbon and everything. Super, super simple. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, the next thing you need is some designer series paper. I used this piece of DSP. It's double-sided. One side is kind of like a wood grain. This side is kind of like white plaster paint. Anyways, it's cut at 4 1/8 by 1 7/8. Okay, so before I glue that on, I am going to stamp it a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but I actually used this stamp and stamped on top of this DSP. So I will show you here. I'm going to use, I think it fits best on block D. Get my scratch paper. And I just added to the background that's already on this paper, but because it's mostly white, it just adds a little more when you look at the finished project. Okay, so we're going to take the liquid glue again and glue it to the front of our gift bag, gift treat holder. And that punch is great if you wanted to make tags, like tags for Christmas. It's coming up. Can you believe it? Okay, so there is that. Now the next 2 steps requires a little bit of stamping. So we are going to use to stamp the You Are Best, we're going to use Early Espresso. And again, I used the Tasteful Touches stamp set. That off. I think it is best using on the acrylic block C. And we're going to stamp that on a scrap piece of Whisper White. And I did it in the middle because we're going to need to cut it out with another Tasteful Labels die. Okay. Now for the flower. The flower we do not have a die for, but watch how this thing, it's amazing. Again, it's like the feather that we just stamped. The detail is absolutely amazing, except I'm not going to use the Early Espresso ink pad. I am going to stamp it up on my crumb cake, okay, which is pretty light, so you're not going to be able to see it. Let me get this linen thread out of my way before I get it all full of ink. Okay, and then I'm going to take our Stampin' Write markers, are water-based, just like our inks, so you can put them directly onto your rubber stamp surface. You can put it onto your acrylic blocks, and it will come right off. So I'm going to use the Early Espresso Stampin' Write marker to bring in the dark pieces. So I'm just kind of coloring around where there's dark. I'm sorry, they're like shadow, kind of like shadow marks, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to speak in flower language, so whatever these things are called. So just kind of go around, and then I have my crumb cake, and I'm gonna just darken up some of the other areas. Even though I have crumb cake at the base, it just kind of gives it a little bit more shadowing. And then I'm going to stamp it onto my crumb cake cardstock. And it's kind of like watercoloring. It's going to look different every time that you do it. So, as you can see here, it just gives it a different effect, you know? Different people like different things. And like I said, unfortunately, there's not a die, so I have to fussy cut this really quick. If you ever have to cut something out, the smaller the scissors, the better. And we're talking paper crafts here. The smaller the scissors, the better. And you move the paper, the cardstock around instead of really moving your scissors, so that your rounded edges are cut more round than pointy, if that makes sense at all. So we're going to set that aside, and we need to use the cut and emboss machine one more time. Make sure I have all my layers in here. So we've got plate number 1, plate number 2, which you always need when you're using thin metal dies, and you're going to get 2 cutting pads. I like to keep one that's significantly used for, that's mostly used for cutting, and then it looks like I accidentally used this one for cutting, but it's okay. And as my bottom cutting plate, okay? That's just how I do it. Everybody does it differently. Then we're going to use the Tasteful Labels. Yeah, Tasteful Labels dies, and I used this one right here. Now again, the cut and emboss machine is going to be available next week. September 1st, you can begin ordering it, and you get all of the cutting mats come with it. All of these cutting mats, and including the one for embossing. Just trying to make sure that this is straight. The magnetic mat will also be available for purchase beginning next week on September 1st. So now we're going to run this through. Look at how cute these are. It has a little stitched edge. It's stitch edge dies are really popular right now. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces. We can start putting them onto the top of our treat box or treat holder. I have the flower hanging off a little bit, so I'm only going to put a little bit of the liquid glue. And I'm going to use 2 Stampin' Dimensionals for the You Are Best label. Kind of give it some dimension. And we'll put that kind of off to the right a little bit. See, and this stands up perfectly. Then I'm going to use some crumb cake ribbon. I've had this forever too, matching our crumb cake cardstock. And I have these little treats. I'm going to show you how they fit in here perfectly. Again, you can make these super easy, super fast. I've done it for many classroom parties in my day. You know, because when you're giving them to kids, especially, they don't really care. They're gonna just rip it open. They don't appreciate the work or the time that you put into it. So making something really fast and simple, and I mean, you can even get simpler, more simple than this. See, and then you can just put, I just had a thing of pink Starbursts, put them in a bag. These bags are the, let me show you what I used. These bags you get from the craft store. There's 100 of them, but they're just clear treat bags made by Wilton. I think they're actually the ones that are used for lollipops or candy making, because it was down that kind of aisle. So that's what I used, and I have 99 more of them to use for whatever I need. Okay, so those are the 3 projects I had to share with you today. This is our treat holder. We made a gift card holder out of a note card and envelope, and I have these 2 You Are So Special cards. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that you learned something and enjoyed escaping the real world of 2020 right now. Since it's the end of the month, I do have a flash order special going on. If anybody places a $50 or more order with me using this host code, I will send you all of this, the project kit, for free. So you won't get the stamps, and you won't get the dies, but I'll die cut everything, and you'll get all of the cardstock and the ribbon and the linen thread to make these projects. If you place an order with me by this Sunday, which is the 30th, is that what I put? Go to my blog and you print out the instruction sheet. I have all the information here. So if you place a minimum $50 order with me using this host code, and I have the host code right here, by this Sunday, I'll send you all 3 make and takes. So you can make all 3 projects that I just made today. So when I wake up on Monday morning, I will run a report, and everybody who has placed a purchase using this host code, that's what you get. So anyways, thanks for hanging out with me today. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I will talk to you soon.